But to go back to the point you're making, Krellin, it is true that, like, the front is that we're doing the Animus stuff to make a game trailer, make a game story. But that's not the full picture. Like, this is a front, and while we are going to use that footage to make a game. The actual reason we're doing that footage is because the Templars want to know what happened in the Caribbean in this era, and they had a memory from Desmond that could get them there. That's all. Like, the game designer stuff is the front. The front that we're not privy to at the start of the game, but it is a front. And yes, Hans, I agree. Like, I do like the beats of this story, but they are ultimately very backloaded. A lot of the best material happens at the very end of the game. There's a whole chunk in the middle where, like, nothing of interest is happening. Like, that is the ultimate crux of the story. I was saying before with regards to my process, as a Let's Player, I guess we still call them that these days. I don't know if we changed the name in the time since, because mostly it's just stream highlights these days. My focus is primarily on how the game either sells a fantasy or tells a story. And so I tend to focus, because I don't want to do like 100% completionist runs, because I don't find them very interesting unless they're not very... Also, I don't want to spend, like... I choose, purposefully, games that don't take terribly long to finish. And the reason for that is that I don't want to sit here and spend like an entire year playing the same video game. I want to be able to say, I'm done with this, I'm moving to something else. Now, sometimes like that does result in me spending a year playing Assassin's Creed games, plural, but spending a year playing one of them would feel strange to me. And part of a problem with that is that a game like Black Flag does come along, and a problem with Black Flag with regards to this process specifically is that the main story is not the main attraction. And that was kind of the fundamental flaw of even probably attempting this. Was what makes Black Flag fun to play is the side content. It is like exploring the Seven Seas on the Jackdaw, fighting merchant vessels, fighting man-o-wars, and recruiting them for your own fleet. It is doing the assassin side quests and filling out the Mayan steals. That is fundamentally why you come to this game. And so the error was probably one of concept. And the reason I'm saying this is because when I was spending that 4 to 6 hours on my off time, actually like grinding out resources to grab my Jackdaw so that I could finish the main story, I was having a great time. I was enjoying the act of cutting down the fortresses and bringing them into my and bringing them under my control. I enjoyed finding ships that had metal in them so I could blow them up and take the metal for myself. I enjoyed doing the odd Mayan steal on my way there, even knowing I wasn't going to finish the quest, but still I liked the content anyway enough to do it. I found as I was doing that shit, I was having a good time. Genuinely. A good time I wasn't having just mainlining the game. So like a lot of the issue I was having with this Let's Play ultimately comes down to me, not the game. It's not the game's fault I was trying to mainline it. The game doesn't want to be mainlined. It wants you to do the side content to relax and stew in this world. It doesn't want to be mainlined. And that was my error. I realized that as I was doing the side content, that was part of the problem. Now, what this means, you probably shouldn't play the game at all. Truth be told, honestly. I probably should just let this game fade away. I am glad I did it, because it didn't end up taking too long in the grand scheme of things. And in doing this game, I am learning why I shouldn't have done this game. Which is good information to have going forward. This kind of Ubisoft open world game that relies heavily upon completing side content to get high enough numbers to do the mainline content does not work for the kind of Let's Plays I am seeking to produce on this channel, both on Twitch and YouTube. And that is something I'm allowed to take away from this going forward. I don't see Far Cry in my future, largely for that reason, any Far Cry game. Unless someone tells me, someone I trust, that Far Cry 2 doesn't lean on a lot of side content and can be mainlined pretty easily. That's not going to be in the cards. Also, I've never played Far Cry 2, and I have a policy where I at least try to beat a game, with some exceptions, before I play it on stream. And I had never played Far Cry 2 in my life. So that would be a blind Let's Play, which I'm not terribly keen on doing, unless it's like a Dark Pictures game. Yeah. It probably wouldn't be right for this channel if the main content is not the like appeal. But that is good to know going forward with how I handle these types of games. That said, it's hard to deny that not every problem, like there were some problems that came as a result of me doing this series the way I did. But not all of them. Not even most. Like, the pacing issue probably gets worse if you don't mainline the story. But even if you do, as you saw with this Let's Play, there's a good chunk in the middle of this game where nothing happens for several sequences. Nothing of note that is worth, like, talking about happens for a good chunk of the game. It's not bad. Because it is, like, giving us an excuse to hang out with Blackbeard and Mary Reed and Ben Hornigold and all of those pirates of the era. But it's also really stifling. Lights on. And you're right. Like, when you add the side content to that meandering narrative that's already there, you're probably not going to remember most what happens in this game. I didn't. There were a couple of things I remembered. I remembered Ben Hornigold the character. I didn't remember anything he did. I forgot that he betrayed us and became a Templar. I forgot that completely. I forgot Blackbeard dying. Like, pretty, like, midway through the game. I forgot Mary Reed's pregnancy. I didn't remember that at all. None of that information stayed in my head, even though I remembered Mary Reed very well. I didn't remember anything about that. Anne Bonny I do remember. Yes, I remembered Anne Bonny as well. I didn't remember that whole thing with them getting being in jail. That slipped my mind entirely. I forgot about Rogers and the other guy that joins the pirate city. I forgot those two characters even existed at all. And part of it is because, like, the conflict they establish early on is this race for the observatory, for the Crystal Skull. And so you're primed to think about everything that's happening in the context of that race to the observatory. But nothing in any of those sequences has anything to do with the observatory whatsoever. It is just Edward going, I want to find this observatory and get rich. Everyone else is going, what the fuck are you talking about, Edward? You have stuff to do. And him going, oh, okay. For like 5 or 6 sequences. And so, like, the plot doesn't really have momentum until we get to the end of the game and the game remembers, oh, I had to wrap the story up somehow. It's like the big problem. And that's not a problem that is caused by me mainlining the story. Like, even if I did the side content, you still have that problem. Arguably, as you noted, Onyx, it'd be worse. It'd be worse if I did side content and didn't just mainline the story the way I did. Because you'd be further exacerbating that discrepancy with more filler content, like with the outposts and all of that. And that's kind of like, that's a growing problem with Assassin's Creed writ large. Like, that's a problem they still have to this day. Onyx says in the chat, a few weeks ago, I said Valhalla had good writing, but I think it had some good characters and a structure that made the narrative work in the open world slop, by tying each area to mini arcs that all converge. And I did not play Valhalla, but going off of Odyssey and going off of Shadows, I see that. I see that. Because that's what Ubisoft still does in their modern Assassin's Creed games. And you can see where that starts here in Black Flag. Black Flag is where you can see all of that happening. It's a tough balance. Because on one hand, Black Flag did deserve the praise it got. It really did, genuinely. Like I was miserable for a lot of the game. For a lot of segments of the game. I won't deny that. But that was because of my process. That was not because of the game. Because when I started playing off camera, just wandering the seas, just doing side stuff. I had a phenomenal time. The game is a lot different, a lot better when you just let the game do the thing it wants to actually clearly do, which is be this vessel for just the content spew. And since most people did that, most people did do all of that side stuff because that was what the attraction was. Black Flag deserves all of that praise. It is fundamentally a good game if you don't do it in the stupid way I did it for this Let's Play. However, that does kind of reveal a hidden truth. Which is just that there is, like, this game strayed from God's light. And by God, I of course mean the Assassin's Creed template. Like, or the Assassin's Creed formula. That's exactly it, Onyx. It ends up being the exact opposite of the first game. Whereas the first game was this very tight and focused, immersive sim, almost immersive sim-like structure. With a bunch of side content that no one gave a fucking shit about. This is the exact, that is exactly right. It's the exact opposite of that. Where this is a game where the main story, I don't want to say it's bad. So that's good. I think once they actually get around to resolving the observatory and like bringing Rogers in and starting to move Edward down the path of the assassins, I think it's really good at that point in the game. Before that, though, it's just kind of nothing. But then the side content is really what you want to do. Like, what you ultimately want to do is get on this ship, take the wheel, and sail to sea. And that's not bad. That's not a bad video game. But it's not Assassin's Creed as I want it to be. And that was really what caused the problem with his Let's Play, is that if I want to tackle this game the way I tackle the rest of this series, I have to fight it. It doesn't want to be an Assassin's Creed game. It wants to be a pirate game. That's why you spend so much time with like Blackbeard and Ed Hornigold and all that, because it wants to be a pirate game. And like, that's where a fundamental tension was born in the Assassin's Creed series that continues to this day. Where the series wants to be this historical fiction. It doesn't really want to, like, be this Hitman-like fantasy where you take out famous bastards across history. Exactly. Now it is that, though. Now it is go back in this era and be a samurai or a ninja or a gladiator, but don't be an assassin. Don't actually be an assassin. Never be an assassin. Assassin's Creed.
It's the white way.
Okay, Ahab. Whatever. That is the fundamental problem that I kept bumping into time and time and time again. And maybe this is maybe I just need to admit that Assassin's Creed isn't what I want it to be anymore. Maybe that is the actual answer, is that like the game, the series as it was, is gone. And it's not coming back. I mean, I'm thankful like I have Hitman. I do have games that will serve this niche. I have Hitman in my life. I have Design in my life. I could replay Prey again if I wanted to. So, like, I'm not unserved. But I am perhaps underserved. Because the game that I wanted to be the immersive sim, that was the immersive sim that I wanted to be, decided that wasn't profitable. And the sad part is, they're right. The changes Assassin's Creed made were made because these changes have mass market appeal. People want a pirate game. People want a ninja game. People want a Viking game. But they don't want an assassin fantasy immersive sim. They don't want that. I want that. But the mass market doesn't want that. And so I have realized that Assassin's Creed left me behind. I don't like it, but that is the reality of it.
Douse the royals, Tom!
You up top! Douse the main, Jack!
Yeah, like for a long time. This was still when games were being made every year. Like Unity, they made 2 games that followed this. They made Rogue and Unity in the same year. It's like they made 2 Assassin's Creed games the year following Black Flag. And this was that era where they were doing yearly releases. And I gotta tell you, immersive sims take more than a year to make. They just do. It's a lot you have to think about when making a game like that. Making an open world game with a bunch of open world slop in it, it's far easier. It's far easier. Still, it's not easy. I don't want to say it's easy. Because like any game dev is hard. Any game dev, especially like a game of this size, is hard. But this is a different kind of challenge and a more digestible challenge than making an immersive sim. I don't hate this game. I thought I would love it. I thought going in that I would love it the way I loved it back in the day. I don't love it. Not really. I like it. I don't love it. I like it. But it's not what I want. My tastes have changed, and I don't want this kind of game anymore. And part of it is that Ubisoft has made too many of these games. And part of it is that making games like this takes away from the kind of games I do want. Of course, I say that, I say this knowing I have full intent to play Ghost of Yotei when it comes out. But also, I played Ghost of Tsushima to completion. And I recall that being about 25-30 hours. Whereas games like this, like these Assassin's Creed games, especially the modern ones, are asking for hundreds of hours of my time. So, yeah, Ghost of Tsushima was not a very long game. It only has 3 regions. Let me make sure that my numbers are accurate. Let me look at how long it beat for Ghost of Tsushima. Because I don't recall that being a very long game. Okay, it's saying completion is like 60 hours. But main story is 25. Which, I did play Expedition 33 this year, and that was a 50-hour game to completion. So that's probably fine. Because I can play... I don't want for free time as much compared to other people for just the sake of how I live my life. But like, I don't recall Ghost of Tsushima being that long, and like especially when you compare it to Shadows. Like Shadows took me like 100 hours to finish. And I did do side missions. I wasn't mainlining the main story. But there is a lot of nothing happening in that game. There's a lot of filler. If I recall, like, Tsushima was being a much tighter experience. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's that, like, I don't hate open world games, but I don't like when they meander. Like, I prefer denser maps to these kinds of huge sprawling maps with like dots and like dots separated by like long, vast distances. But that's why I like Horizon 1 more than I like Forbidden West, because Horizon 1's a very dense map. It's not a very big one. As Forbidden West started to get into that, like, it wants to be big and not dense. I think that's a huge factor in my personal enjoyment of this genre. Because I don't care how big your map is, I care how dense it is, though. I do care about that. That is Black Flag. I'm glad that I am glad that the story does pick up towards the end, like the way I remembered it picking up towards the end. I especially didn't take so long to get there. Because there is so much this game could have been. Ended up not really being. I am also a little tired of climbing shit in these games now. Probably also why I like Tsushima a lot, because there's no actual like climbing. It's mostly stealth and combat, but there's not a lot of actual platforming in the game. Like, it does do the thing where, like, follow the yellow paint every now and then. But it doesn't ever get more complicated than that. Like, if you can platform in Horizon, you can platform in Ghost of Tsushima. It's pretty much the same platforming. It's Sony big box platforming. You know the type. If you play like a Sony game in the past several years, you know the type of platform I'm talking about. It's just that. It's the yellow paint. It is good to know that Black Flag isn't like it still holds up, but it is also good to know that it doesn't hold up for me specifically in the way I want to handle these games for the channel. And I'm gonna have to like. I'm not sure still where I'm gonna go after this. I don't know what game if any I have up my sleeve. Because if I could have to like. I have to really think about like what open world games I play, if any. That could be tough. Maybe I do have a thing up my sleeve. Maybe I have to ask some people what they feel, but I might have an idea up my sleeve for what we might do next week. I don't know if I can commit to a full playthrough of it, but we'll see. We'll see. This is a strange. This is a strange conclusion to Let's Play. But I think I'm gonna end a little early, because I don't have a whole lot. I don't think I have a lot more to say than what I already have said. Like I don't. It has been nice. I will say that I am grateful to Magic the Gathering for giving me a reason to replay Assassin's Creed. Because going back to Assassin's Creed 1, 2, the Ezio games, 3, and Black Flag, going back to these core games from the old days, reminded me that there was a time where I did like these games. There was a time when these games were really good. And they aren't now. Now they're just mid. They're just filler. They're empty calories. Which doesn't necessarily mean bad. It just means that like there's not a lot like to talk about when it comes to Assassin's Creed these days. But comparing what we have now to what we had before was eye-opening for me. I knew in the back of my head that this was the case. I knew. I knew that, like, there was something in the sauce that was just not there the way it used to be. That some seasoning was left out of the dish in the pursuit of endless content. I knew that. But in coming back to these games, I felt it. I felt it in my soul. I feel the absence of what this used to be. And I don't know what to do with that feeling. Beyond just, like, talking about it here in this stream. I don't know what to do with that feeling. Because I can't really do anything about that. I can't march off to Ubisoft and say, hey, your games used to be awesome and now they suck now. I can't do that. That won't do anything. They'll be like, cool, thank you. Fuck off. And they'd be right to. Wait, 15 here. We are getting, like, We're getting Morrowind likes now, so maybe. Like, I played Dread Delusions. And that is a really good attempt at like a Morrowind as an indie game. It's got some flaws. It's got some roughness and texture to it. But it's good. So I could easily see a time, years from now, when tools start getting more advanced, and this becomes like vogue again. I could absolutely see a world in which we return to the open world games of yesteryear in the indie scene. Because we are getting Oblivion likes now. It's an interesting time we live in. But as of right now, I don't know I don't know what to do with the realization that there's just something gone, something lost. Oh, there are a few Oblivion likes. If you want to go, like, if you want to, like, talk about Avowed as one, like, that's Obsidian's take on the genre. The other one I think you're talking about, I think it's on my wish lists. Cause Never Knows I think, are you talking about Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon? Cause Never Knows Beth did a video on Oblivion likes, and this was one of the ones that came up. I heard it was I heard it's okay. I hear it's pretty good. But I have not tried it yet myself. Yeah, I've heard that it is very janky. Probably what I expect. But that's those kinds of games are janky just by the way they function. But yeah. Ubisoft made some damn good games. Ubisoft made some damn good games back in the day. I just wish they kept making them. Because there's a soul here. Even in Black Flag. I criticize Black Flag for introducing the crafting shit that I don't like. For doing a lot of, like, open world busy work that I do like, but wish I didn't need to do. But fundamentally, this is a good game. There's a soul to this game that isn't there anymore. And it makes me sad. I'm happy I played these games. I'm glad to have gone back and reminisced about the good old days. But I was expecting... Here is the actual problem. I was expecting to go into this Assassin's Creed replay and say, man, I had some rose-tinted glasses on, man. These games actually suck compared to the games we have these days. I went in fully expecting for my opinions of the old Assassin's Creed games to be wrong. I went in fully expecting to go, man, these games suck shit. Man, these games suck shit. And I am so glad Ubisoft moved away from this and on to something different. Because, oh boy, imagine they kept the old formula. That's what I expected to feel. I was wrong. I was dead wrong. They were not rose-tinted glasses. They were just glasses. And that's arguably worse. That's arguably worse. But that is also where we're ending, I think. I think this is where we're ending. It was a good run. It was a very good run. I really enjoyed these games. I really enjoyed Assassin's Creed. I enjoyed the Ezio games. I was shocked that I love Assassin's Creed 3 now. Connor Ratuna Ketun is one of my favorite characters from this franchise now. I didn't expect that. That's so fucking cool. And Edward has such a natural charisma to him. I love these guys. Little Blorbos. I love them. And maybe once a year or two has passed and I think about them again, maybe I'll replay these games. Not for stream, but on my own time. Because I like them. I do. I like these games a lot. And I hope that, like, someone watches this who has never touched Assassin's Creed before and gives them a try. I hope someone does. That's how I'll leave this. I'll leave this with that more upbeat way of spinning it. That's how I'll leave this. If you have not played Assassin's Creed yet, and you're out here listening to this, go give it a shot. Not the new ones, but the old shit. With Altair and Ezio and all that. Give those games a shot, because they are fucking awesome. Actually. Peace all. Have a rest of your day. Yes, do not... Onyx is right in the chat. Do not skip the first game. The first game is the best one. The first game is the best! See y'all! Bye for next time. I'll see you next week with something else. We'll find out what it is then. Take care.